Hi there, everybody. This is Godfrey Oni, Marketing Coordinator for Sherwood Inspection Services, and you are tuned into our first Teach Me Tuesday for April, where it is Pest Management Month, as well as Home Inspector Month as well. Today we have David Sherwood.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well, Dave.
Excellent.
And what we're going to talk to you today is about pest management and more specifically describing the process of inspections or inspecting for wood destroying insects.
Right. So we know that there are 4 insects in New England that are wood destroying that we mainly have and focus on. And so from there we can break it down and say, okay, we have termites, wood destroying subterranean termites, and we know they come from the ground. So that's really helpful as a starting point. They're not dropping from the trees like termites in other parts of the country. Here in the northern part of the climate, we have the most common termite, which is across the country, again, subterranean. So we will start on the outside of the house and work our way around, usually from grade level, and that's where we'll focus on that one. And then we go inside. Now, with termites, oftentimes they leave something called shelter tubes or mud tubes behind for that people can see. But we want to sound the wood, and that's where we get a tool like this particular probe is one of the better probes that inspectors will use, because up here you've got a little hammer type where you can sound the wood for hollowness. I know a lot of people know inspectors that go out and they're just banging it with a screwdriver. The idea is not to put a hole in the wood. The idea is to sound the wood for its density, and it will give you an indication if there's something going on with it. So therefore, a hammer type. The other thing it allows you to do, this side here that's got a diagonal cut on it, if you hold the handle here, you can hit down on the sill as you go along. So it allows you to also check the sill and many other structural areas. So this tool is invaluable to a termite inspector or a home inspector who's doing a wood destroying insect inspection. Now, when we're looking for termite damage, I talked a little bit about shelter tubes, and termites will leave these shelter tubes behind. But if the shelter tube goes missing, and I'm going to bring this up close to the camera so you can see these little dots on here. Those dots are, and in fact, if we look in here, I'm going to turn this around. I'll point in here. You can see the dots there where things are kind of muddy around it, but kind of clean and left a dot behind. That's what happens when the shelter tubes get wiped clean and you know termites have been there. It's kind of their signature left behind. And so we will look for that. We'll look for the shelter tubes, and we'll look for the damage. The termites are going to leave a very specific gallery in the wood. And so they go along the grains of the wood and chew the wood out. So because of that, it will leave that type of gallery there. And so we'll look for that as well. So we sound the wood and we look for the tunneling and the tubes. And then we will also look for the damage. And those are critical areas as we go along the foundation. Now, that should not be mistaken for our typical dry rot, because oftentimes people will confuse it and see dry rot on a piece of wood that looks like that and has the check marks in it and such, but no tubes, no tunneling, nothing broken open. So let's not make that mistake and make sure that we call termite damage. We also should know that the next insect we're going to talk about for wood destroying is carpenter ants. And so carpenter ants can actually be anywhere in the house because they can come from the trees. Oh, wow. And if you have trees that are hanging over the house and come in contact with the house, or shrubbery, then oftentimes the carpenter ants can get in that way. Normally, the carpenter ants are looking for a moisture area. They love to do secondary damage. The wood is already softened by water or moisture, and so they'll get in and they'll do their damage to the wood. Those are big galleries and big open areas, and so you'll notice it very different than the small galleries made by the termites. The next one is the carpenter bee, and the carpenter bee typically will make a perfectly round half-inch hole, oftentimes in deck railings, up in your soffit and your fascia board up near the roof area, and sometimes even shutters. They'll get into and up underneath shakes and clapboards. And so they make that hole, and oftentimes they leave a little excretion behind, a yellowish white dusting, and they'll get in and do damage, but the damage isn't usually very long, about 6 to 8 inches long. If they're doing many holes and many different bees, then certainly you will have more, like Toby in the other episode. And so they can do more damage to it. The last one is powder post beetles. Powder post beetle is a very small beetle. Now we have two types, anabiad and lictid. The lictid is smaller than the anabiad. So you may have varying size holes in the wood. And I'm going to show you just a little bit of what that would look like. So get up here, you see the looks like little BB holes, although they're very small. These are from lictid powder post beetles, and they will also break open the wood just like termites will, and they'll get in there and just leave a paper type end to it. So they've hit the grains of the wood, and here's a perfect example where they hit it and they exit through these round holes here. So those are from powder post beetle activity in the wood, and they can do quite a bit of damage. Again, they like softened wood where the humidity is high in your basement area, and the best way to protect from powder post beetles is to dry the basement out and bring it down to about a 50% relative humidity with a dehumidifier. And the dehumidifier should be one that's pumped to a drain, and it should be set at 50% and run whenever it needs to and not run when it doesn't need to. And it should be sized to the cubic feet of the space that you're trying to dehumidify. Most people will just go down to their local hardware store and pick one up that looks good. That's not what you want. You want to make sure it's sized properly. So do the calculation. You can compare it to the chart that they have usually right on the box.
Very interesting. Nice science class. We love the examples. Are there any other tools that inspectors may use during the inspection process?
Absolutely. Here's the issue. They should have a flashlight that's got 60,000 candle powers, because it's important for it to be as bright as possible. Sometimes you get these battery flashlights that aren't very good. They've got to get a bright white light in order for you to be able to get into those cracks and crevices down in a basement or up in an attic area. So a good flashlight is our best friend throughout the inspection process.
Awesome. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed that bit of information that Dave has imparted on us today. One more question that I actually might have and that I think other people might find helpful is now there are pest control companies out there. Do they do this type of inspection as well? And if they do, what is the difference between someone who does that as their only business and someone like us who is a little bit more well-rounded?
Good question. So if you have a pest control company that's going to go out, they have the same licenses and certifications that we do. They'll do a good job for you. So if you're looking for someone to just come out and do a pest inspection of your home, you see something that looks like termite damage, or you're not sure if it's rot or termite damage or carpenter ant damage, or you see the little ants coming through the house and you don't know what to do to treat them, call them. They'd be the company to call. If you're concerned and you don't trust them or trust a company, and you want someone independent to come out, you could certainly call us. That's not our main business. We'll usually do the termite inspection as part of our home inspection. So either we will refer you to a company, or we'll come out there and do the initial inspection and then refer you over to a company in your area that we work with. There are several that we work with throughout the state of Connecticut and Western Massachusetts, so we can certainly help you out with that.
Awesome. And how important is it for a new homeowner or a new home buyer to get a wood destroying insect inspection along with their home inspection?
So most of the time it's going to be required on your mortgage. Not always, but many times. And so it's important to get it then. Now there are some schools of thought that if I'm buying a condo, the association already treats for it. No, they don't. They will treat for typical spiders and silverfish, nuisance types, picnic ants. They will not treat, and maybe even carpenter ants, but they will not treat for termites. They will not treat for carpenter bees, and they will not treat for powder post beetles. So those are very specific types of treatment and locations of treatment, and it requires a specific pesticide. So very important that you understand that if you're buying a condo, or no matter what kind of house you're buying, does not mean that you can't get these insects in them. So best for the low cost dollars, under $100, to get a pest inspection, it certainly makes sense to have that done at the same time.
Awesome, awesome. We hope you guys enjoyed that Teach Me Tuesday about inspecting for wood destroying insects. Please check out our Facebook page, our Instagram page, as well as our YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe with all of your friends. Dave, do you have any last words?
Make it a great day.
All right, everybody, be positive, and we will see you next week. Bye now.